Good afternoon, and welcome to Wizards World. I'm Jim Redondi. Today, we welcome Karen Wong with Globus Family of Brands. Karen will tell us all about Globus and monograms and Avalon and take us to the continent of South America. As a reminder, we would appreciate it if you would mute yourself so there is no background noise during the presentation. And if you have any questions, use the chat box and we will get to them as they come in or at the end. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the presentation. Take it away, Karen.
Thank you, Jim. This is Karen. I am the Business Development Manager for Globus Family of Brands, and I'm based in Northern California. And I want to thank Travel Wizards for inviting Globus to participate in the event today and to have a chance to tell you a little bit about South America. I know we're all anxious to go somewhere anytime, so let's get started with this. I wanted to share why you would go there, how would you experience it, and what it's all about as far as this wonderful location is concerned. So we go all over the world, but for this one, we're going to zero in on South America and a little bit of Central America. Why travel here? You would travel here because, one, no visas in general. We've had it up and down over the last few years, and that's something that you would check out with your agent at Travel Wizards. Same time zone as North America, no jet lag. Amazing weather year-round in most of the destinations, which means it's a destination you can travel at any time. It's only in the far south that it's seasonal. Everything we do here is small group discoveries. And what it means is that it's a maximum of 20 people per group, and that's on the Globus brand. If you're on monograms, it's basically a private tour. So just to give you a little bit of background about Globus and why you would go. At Globus, we create first-class escorted tours with just the right balance of included features and free time. So we look for those hidden gems, not hidden charges. We throw in more visits and toss in more experiences as much as we can and include more sightseeing, all in the price of your vacation. So as you can see, we have some little medallions down here at the bottom. We have our top-notch transportation. We have very high standards. We are a Swiss company. We're headquartered in Lugano, Switzerland. So around the world, our standards are very high when it comes to our transportation. And our hotels, the same. We've been in business for over 92 years. So those contacts we've had with hotels and different attractions and different museums, et cetera, have turned into relationships after all these years. Our customers do not stand in line. We always buy out the time slots whenever you're visiting any of the attractions or the cathedrals or any of the landmark sites. Our tour directors have been with us on an average of about 23 years as employees, not as independent contractors. We also have independent contractors as well, but the major part of our tour directors are our experts, and they help to design the itineraries as well. And it's from them that they came up with the term of freedom. And the freedom is within the structure, that means the logistics, lies the freedom for you to enjoy the destination. So we're going to go to our jumping off point, which is Peru. It's probably one of our most popular destinations. And as an example, out of LA down to Lima, it's like about 9 hours. So and believe me, you're flying 9 hours, you don't change time zones. So it's really kind of interesting. And Peru is the home to a section of the Amazon forest, also Machu Picchu and Sacred Valley, the Inca Trail. Then there's Lima, which is on the Pacific coast, and of course is the capital of Peru, and has amazing pre-Columbian art. The country is bordered by Colombia and Brazil, and in the south by Chile and Ecuador on the northwest side. So we'll be talking about some of these areas as we go through this. And Peru is the Indian word for abundance. The economy base for the country of Peru has been vast amounts of minerals and agriculture and marine resources. But in the late 20th century, tourism became a major component of the economic base. So we're first going to talk about one of our itineraries. I'm going to be showing you a few itineraries, actually 4, I believe, itineraries, just to give you a lay of the land so you could see how you can be visiting the areas. And I'll show you how to read the map. So anything that, any circle that shows green is your starting point. Any circle that shows red, obviously, is your ending point. Any number in a circle shows you the number of nights you're going to stay there. So on arrival, we're coming into Lima. We'll be staying in the Miraflores area. And we'll be then, even after 2 nights, you'll be spending time then going down to Cusco, making our way up to Machu Picchu. And let me just say that when you're in each of these cities, there are ground tours all included here as well. So that's all included in the price. You have breakfast every morning. Your accommodations are all set up for you, and first class accommodations. And if you see something like this, that means we're flying to the next destination. If you see something like this, that means we're taking a train. And over here, you're going to be taking all types of transportation. We're going over to Lake Titicaca, which is the highest lake in the world at 12,000 feet. And we're going to spend a little bit of time there, and then we're going back up this way into Lima and spending a couple of nights and going into the Bay of Paracas. So this shot on the right-hand side is along the coastline. That's the Pacific Ocean on the left-hand side. And Peru has claimed about 200 miles out as being their Pacific Ocean. So beautiful shot, I think, of Peru I wanted to share. And of course, as I mentioned, you saw the train tracks, the slash marks. You're going to be on the rail to go up to Aguas Calientes so that you can visit Machu Picchu. And then this is Aguas Calientes area. You'll be staying in one of the most beautiful hotels there. We do have wonderful properties. But I want to tell you a little bit about Machu Picchu if you're not aware. Now is a good time to go before the gondolas go in. Because of all of the tourism that goes here, and people, you can walk through the whole area. The government is trying to put together the whole plan for the gondolas to be put in, so you would be then floating over the top of Machu Picchu to see the areas rather than to totally visit them. So Machu Picchu itself is made up of about 150 buildings. Their baths, their houses, their temples and sanctuaries. And the stones here that you see, each one weighs about 50 pounds, and the Incas were considered the best masons in the world. In 1911, a Yale professor, Hiram Bingham, rediscovered this site. And based on his findings, there is a remaining dispute between Yale, or Mr. Bingham, Professor Bingham, and Peru as to who owns a lot of the antiquities. The purpose of Machu Picchu has all kinds of purposes out there. Everybody has different ideas. So either a royal estate on one end or a secret ceremonial center on the other side. It's also an astronomical observatory where the 2 equinoxes are indicated. So twice a year, the sun sits directly over the stone created, and there's no shadow. And for those of you who have been to Egypt, you might be aware of this at Karnak. Most cities built by the Incas were destroyed by the Spanish, but this particular city could not be seen from the ground up. So it survived and is considered the most well-preserved Inca city, an archaeological gem. So some of the sites you'll take in as you're traveling and making your way to Machu Picchu, you'll go to Pisac. Pisac is an open market area, and you'll have a chance to visit it, do some shopping there. It's a great little place. I've done this trip, so it's been a lot of fun to share some of the pictures that I've taken and some of the experiences we've had. You'll also have a chance to experience a shaman ceremony where you'll get blessings for good health and safe travels. You'll visit a local home up in Lake Titicaca area, and also in the area where you'll catch your train to go up to Aguas Calientes to visit Machu Picchu. So with that, we're going to go on to some other areas of South America. And this is one of my favorites, only because it takes in a particular area that I like. I like all of them, but there's something that's a little unique on this one. So where does it start? Starts in Rio de Janeiro, and of course, you're going to have your cocktail up at Sugarloaf, and you'll also then fly right over to Iguazu, down to Buenos Aires. You'll go into Bariloche. I don't know if you're familiar with that, and this is the part that I'll tell you about. Spend a little extra time on this one because it's really a cool experience. And from there, you'll go on to Santiago as your departure location and spend a couple of nights. So the picture in the foreground, you can see beautiful sights of the ocean, etc. It's a 15-day program, breakfast, of course, every day. Oh, guess what? You're going to have a tango lesson. There you go. And you're going to have a chance to learn the samba. You're also going to have a visit to an estancia in Argentina, and you're going to be here, right here, you're going to have a chance to meet the gauchos. The gaucho is a symbol of rustic elegance, autonomy, and hardworking ties to the land. They wear large baggy pants that are cinched at the ankles, and cowboy hats or berets, and even handlebar mustaches. They're all part of the style that one thinks back to the old days of Argentina. You'll also have a chance to try the local drink, which is caiperna. And it's basically the local the local gin with sugar as well as lime. You can substitute and change it around to use white rum or tequila, but that is the official drink for Brazil. Hold on, let's get here. We're going next to Iguazu Falls. And Iguazu Falls, you'll be able to see it from both sides, Argentina as well as Brazil. And Iguazu Falls itself is made up of 2 national parks. One in Brazil, and the one in Brazil is about 186,000 acres, and the one in Argentina is about 70,000 acres. They became national parks in 1934 and 39, and then became a World Heritage Site as Iguazu Falls, not as the national park. And that was in 1984. It's not only about tourism here, it's home to many species of animals and flora, and they create an important natural ecosystem connecting all of Latin America. And just having Iguazu Falls has allowed for the development of the local economies and improving the quality of life for a lot of the inhabitants here. So here's Bariloche. Bariloche is part of it's in what's called the Lakes District. And as you can see, you don't even think you're in Argentina. It looks like a Swiss village. And you'll get a couple of sites here. You see the various lakes and the gondola rides that you can take. During the summer, on a one-day tour, this is the big part that I want to tell you about, that you're going to be doing a crossing of the lakes. So you'll have a chance here to take the ski lift ride to the summit and see the Andes peaks. And you'll also be able to take in the chocolates. They're Swiss-style chocolates. Let me see if I can get this going. Here we are. So on the right-hand side of the screen, you can see where it's Bariloche. You are going to cross over all of these lakes and mountains over to Puerto Varas. So you're going from Argentina to Chile. And you will have, in the middle, you can see there, Huela. That's where you'll have your passport check. So you're going from Argentina to Chile. And I'm going to show you your different types of transportation. Here you go. You're going to have 4 coaches and 3 boats, different types, ferries, smaller boats, etc. And I know the first question is, well, what about my bags? Do I have to take these on and off or whatever? What on each of these different types of transportation? No, you will leave your bags at the hotel when you check out in Bariloche. We will have a luggage truck take them to Puerto Varas and have them available at your hotel when you get there. So you just take a carry-on with you, whatever you want for the day. but it's a really exciting journey. It's all in one day. You'll go, as an example, the Trans-Andean Crossing, and you'll go through, you'll pull out your passport, as I say in Pueblo, here, right up in the center. I'll point to that right there. And then you'll make your way across and you arrive to the end at the end of the day, probably around 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Something different. And this is just a shot I wanted to share with you because I think it's just beautiful as far as leaving South America. But just, you know, I always tend to go back to Bariloche because I just think it's so interesting. It's a very European city. It attracts people from Brazil, Europeans, and Israelis, and it's a winter resort. And winter, remember, we're in South America. When is winter? June through September. So you'll have a chance to really take in what the locals enjoy and what the Europeans enjoy. So let's move on to our next destination, which is the Galapagos. So we're going to talk about the Galapagos Islands, and located about 600 miles west of the continental Ecuador. And they are known for their large number of endemic species, meaning unique just to them, just to that area. It was studied by Charles Darwin. It's often called Darwin's laboratory during his second voyage. And that was the inception of his theory of evolution. So it was first recorded that there was a visit to the islands in 1535 by the Bishop of Panama. So you have a chance here. You see our jumping off point is usually Quito. And then we go out to the Galapagos a couple of different ways. So Galapagos Islands, these are the animals that are there. And I love this shot because it's got a mammal and a reptile and a crustacean. It's a common gathering of biodiverse friends of the Galapagos. And the Galapagos is home to, areas that you won't see, animals, mammals, etc., that you won't see anywhere else in the world. 80% of the land birds that you see, you won't see anywhere else in the world. 97% of the reptiles and the land mammals are there. More than 20% of the marine species. And favorites include the giant tortoise, which I think something happened to the giant tortoise in the last year or so, the marine iguana, and the only penguin species to be found in the Northern Hemisphere. Let's go on, and I want to show you how we can visit this. So you have cruising, different ways of cruising, anywhere from a 10-night cruise on a small ship of 36 to 20, and a 6-night cruise or a 7-night cruise. We do offer this through our Monograms program. Remember, Monograms, you're not with a group. You're really on your own with your guide. So you will have a lot of time to enjoy. The one thing about Monograms when you get to South America is your host becomes your guide. And that's what's a little bit different about Monograms. And another way to see it, and it's really been popular with a lot of the families that I've worked with, is to see it from land, not from ship. So what this is the Galapagos highlights. It's a lot of families that like to go, and everybody has a different interest. Some want to stay at the hotel on land. Others want to do the activities that are there or spend time on their own. And others just want to go out to the islands and see the animals. So this program includes Guayaquil, it includes Quito, obviously, and then 4 nights in Santa Cruz at the Finch Bay Hotel. So here we are. Here's the itinerary on the lower left. You can see it. And it's like, okay, so I'm here in Quito. I go out and I spend 4 nights here. How do I see the islands? You're out on speedboat every day, either speedboat or yacht, and you go out with a naturalist. And you don't know what island you're going to go to from island to island, from day to day, because it depends on where all of the wildlife is located. Those are the islands that you'll go and visit. And then when your 4-night stay is over, you'll come back to Guayaquil. You'll be staying at the Finch Bay Echo Hotel, and it has I think 27 suites. Yes, 27 suites and cottages there. Not cottages, 27 suites and rooms at this particular hotel. So, but it's right there. You don't have to go on board a ship. You can do everything in this area. And as I say, families seem to like it. So you get multiple generations who enjoy going here. So let's move on. And I'm going to talk about Avalon. This is Avalon Waterways. We do river cruising all over the world, whether it's in Asia or throughout Europe, but also we do promote in South America. So let's just look at where we are. As I said, if we're looking at strictly the West Coast, obviously you can see that, and make your way down towards the South Pacific Ocean. And you can see where we were in Peru. You can see that we've taken in Brazil, and we've made our way across to Argentina as well as over to Chile. So we're going to go to the Amazon River Basin. And it's part of South America, drained by the Amazon River and its tributaries. It covers and is located in many of the countries: Bolivia, Brazil, Colombia, Guyana, Peru. And we tend to concentrate on the Peruvian side of the Amazon. Most of the basin is covered by the Amazon rainforest, which is also known as Amazonia. So this is where the Amazon begins. Rio Negro meets with Rio Solimões, forming the Amazon. And I want to show you something. It's two different ones, as you can see. These are water samples from each side. And I just wanted you to see how different they look. Of course, they do in the ocean and as it's natural, but I wanted you to see the waters as well. And they run exactly as you see that for about 4 miles side by side without mixing before it becomes the Amazon. So the lower Amazon seems to have been once the Gulf of the Atlantic Ocean. And that's kind of a little bit of history where it's concerned. The river systems and floodplains of Brazil, Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, and Venezuela. Waters drain into the Solimões, which is on the left-hand side. And the Amazon proper runs mostly through Brazil and Peru. The reason why we stay on the Peru side, we consider that to be the mouth of the Amazon. And then as you move more and more into the Brazilian side, this is where the oil tankers and everything comes in. So you have a pure area for flora, fauna, wildlife to see. So I'm going to tell you about the Avalon experience. It includes the Inca Empire. We don't have to go through that, but the Peruvian Amazon part is really kind of interesting. And this is where we use and work with the Delphine 3. And it is an 11-day trip. And you can see it down at the bottom, in and out of Lima. And you take in the Machu Picchu piece first, as well as Sacred Valley, Pisac, that was the market, Cusco, which is the town. And don't forget to check out the Pisco Sour, that's the local drink in Peru. And also after that, you're gonna fly back to Lima and then go up to Iquitos for a walking tour of the area and seeing the area, and then eventually embarkation at Nauta. And you'll have a 3-night cruise in this area where you'll have an orientation, as I mentioned, in Iquitos, and you'll have a welcome reception, wildlife viewing excursions during the afternoons and evenings on each of your days. You'll also have a cooking demonstration. Let's look at the interior of this. So here's the dining room, the bar, and a couple of the accommodations for you to see. And it's a total of 16 suites on this ship. It's 5-star, and it's all Peruvian cuisine, and each meal is locally sourced. You can also do extensions onward to the Naxa lines, and you can also, a lot of people do this. When they do the Amazon, they do the Galapagos at the same time. So these are some of the things that you'll be able to do. You'll also be able to go fishing for piranha, if that's on your wish list. You'll be able to go kayaking, You'll also have a chance to check out a couple of the different animals that are there. And there are a lot of them. The one on the right-hand side, of course, is the howler, and the capuchin is on the left-hand side. So let's look at where we're going. Okay, this is another way to see the Amazon. This is monograms. Remember I said monograms is the one where you're basically private on this. So you would go on this particular program, see the itinerary there, and again, you're going to take in Peru and the Amazon River. This one is going to be a little bit different. It's 14 days and 13 nights. So I hope you're in the mood for some activity and something interesting to do. You'll have a canoe ride at dusk to learn about the Amazonia River ecosystems. You'll have a dugout canoe ride that takes you to the National Reserve. Let's go here. There's your canoe rides. You'll have a walk in the jungle canopy. This is where you're staying during this particular stay in Inca Terra. This is one of the properties that we use. It's the main one we use when you're staying in the Amazon area. And it's located between the river as well as the National Reserve where you'll be. And you'll also do a train, obviously to Machu Picchu. You'll sail on the river, on the lake, which is Lake Titicaca. What I didn't tell you about is on this one that's a little bit different, you're going to go to, oh, there he is. There's that otter, that sea otter. It's an endangered species too in the Amazon. You're also, when you go up to Lake Titicaca, you're going to go to the Uros Islands. In the Uros Islands, I have a picture of it in a little while, you'll see it. The whole island is made of reeds. So it's kind of a mystery as to how it happened, but you'll hear the history when you go through this. So here you'll have a chance to see all the butterflies in the area. Beautiful sight. Certainly an exciting trip for everyone. So what to expect when you're traveling with us? Well, it sounds like a lot of activity that you're going to be doing, but we also are very cognizant of the current environment for travel. So all fellow travelers are screened. That means we take temperature checks, and it's the same thing for our staff. They have to provide all of their health documentation before they are assigned a departure. That's not just our tour director and our drivers, but also all the local guides that come with you. And each day, everybody's temperature is taken. Touch points. There are no more buffets, or at least at this point, no buffets or self-service. Everything is menu and table service. So we minimize the contact. We tell everybody to please bring your masks. Everybody wears masks at all times. You're in a group that's no more than 20 people. So, and everybody said, well, what happens in that situation with the transportation? Do you use smaller vehicles? No, we use the standard size coaches. So you have that 6-foot distance between you. We also do have masks that are available. We have like a little, it's a nursing coach is what everybody's calling it now, because we have masks, we have sanitizing equipment, we have like the Purells and water and all types of things available on board. But we know a lot of people like to bring their own masks, and we encourage you to do that. And our staff wears them about 96% of the time. The times when they don't is usually when they're sleeping. And the other thing that we do that's very important is, say you come off of out of the hotel, or you come out of the airport and your bags go onto the coach. We sanitize those bags every time they go onto the coach. So that's an important piece as well. And everybody wears the mask when they do this, and gloves. So some of the friends that we have on the Amazon, you'll have a chance to take in all the birds. That seems to be my weakness. I love looking at the birds and the colors. There's been black market as well to try and sell these beautiful birds, but and that's been into the US and other areas of the world, but you'll have a chance to really take them in their natural environment. This is the Uros Islands. This is the Uros Islands. This is what it looks like. And you'll have a chance to really get to know them and see what's going on. The tagline down here really is Peace of Mind 2021. What does that mean? If you make a booking with us for 2021 or early 22, you can, and you only make a deposit, and you decide you want to change destinations or dates or even products. You want to go from, oh, I don't think I'll do the monograms. I think I'll go on the ship and do an Avalon instead and go to the Galapagos. You can make it change in product and destination and dates, all through travel to begin before, well, no later than December 31, 2022. As long as you do this before your final payment, there's no penalty involved. So that's what we call our Peace of Mind Plan 2021. Now, this is our health requirement statement. This is totally separate from any state, any government, any other country, any CDC or NIH, any other statements that are out here. This is strictly the Globus family of brand health statement. So if you've been vaccinated, you need to be vaccinated at least 14 days prior, or you need a negative test within the last 72 hours, and you'll have proof of that when you come on board. Or if you've had COVID, you need documentation of your recovery. So if you had COVID in the last 3 months prior to your travel. And as we say down here, it's totally independent and in addition to any other requirements imposed. So with that, I'm going to end and thank everyone for joining us. I hope you found some of the information very interesting, kind of intriguing. We're all anxious to get out, do some traveling, see the world, and also just get out there and meet some new people as well. So I thank you, and I look forward to seeing you on one of these trips soon.
Karen, thank you very much for the presentation and taking us pretty much all the way around South America. Mm-hmm. We do appreciate that, on a boat, on a plane, on a coach, any way we can to get there. And I like when you're going through that section of Argentina over to Chile, where you have to put the passport halfway through the boats and the coaches. That's very interesting. I do encourage anybody, if you put something in the chat for Karen, she's going to be around here for a few more minutes. She can answer your questions, whether it's on any one of the tours that she talked about tonight, or maybe just the differences between Globus and Avalon and Cosmos and
monograms.
And monograms, thank you. And also before that, I'm going to get it started here. And, I'm going to go to the Galapagos, Karen, because, mm-hmm. We're so ingrained in the Galapagos always being on a boat. And tonight, you enlightened us to how we can actually stay on the islands. And I'm sure there's not too many accommodations on these islands, but that you do have access to them, and you have it, 4 or 5 days after spending a couple days in Quito. And so I want to thank you for bringing that to our attention, because I think most everybody that travels think that the only way to see the Galapagos is through a boat. And this, you opened up something new to us. Is this new to the Globus family, or is this something?
It's been around a long time, as a matter of fact. It's been around a long time, and it was really a customer that brought it to my attention when she said, I'm going to take my children and my grandchildren to the Galapagos, but I really don't want to stay on a ship of any sort. She had told her agent this. So we mentioned, and it was like, oh, that's right, we do have this program. It isn't top of mind, just like you said. It's just one of those where you get a chance to go and stay at the Finch Bay Resort or hotel for 4 nights, which makes it really nice. And it makes it kind of cool that you can just go out on the speedboats or the yacht to visit.
And they just take you to wherever that day's action is going to be.
Yeah, wherever those animals are that day, you get to see them.
And those animals, I guess, travel quite a bit, especially the ones obviously that can swim and fly. They probably change islands all the time. And then that picture you had of the Amazon, where the saltwater and the freshwater meet, mm-hmm. and how they don't intermix. I mean, that's to me is just amazing. And
I'm fascinated by it. South America is just so interesting, and you can see it from so many different angles. And that's what I wanted to bring to you this evening, that there's just so much adventure down there, and so much, so keeping our fingers crossed, things will work out and we'll be able to do this soon.
Yes, and then like you said, the seasons are switched. So even though, you know, travel might not open until, let's say, late summer, early fall in Europe or wherever, even in the United States, where, you know, when the vaccinations finally get taken place, well, by that time the seasons are changing. Instead of going into fall and winter in the northern hemisphere, we'll be going into spring and summer in the southern hemisphere. So it'd be just perfect timing as far as the weather when we think things will truly be up and running 100%. So I do appreciate that. So just another minute or so, folks, if you do have a question for the chat, please put it in there. Again, just also want to remind you, we do this every week. And next week, we're going to have an adventure tour company, Backroads, which does a lot of hiking and biking. So we hope you can join us for that presentation as well. And the April schedule is being put together now, so we should have that out to everybody shortly. Karen, I do see that there is nothing else in the chat at this stage of the game outside of thank yous. So we do appreciate your time tonight, and we hope to have you back, and maybe you can tell us all about some other product or some other destination, maybe in April or May.
Would love to do it. I just want to say one last thing. Don't forget to ask your Travel Wizards agent for your special promotion discount, because there is a promotion available for anybody that's attending this.
Perfect. Thank you for that. We definitely appreciate those promotions. So thank you for that as well. Okay. And then, I guess there is a question about the Rhine promo. What is that about the Rhine? I guess that's an Avalon Waterway trip on the Rhine. Is there a promo for that?
There probably is. I didn't come prepared for that. The Rhine promotion. What is the Rhine promotion that we're talking about?
So we will reach out if we need to and get that answer for everybody.
Okay.
Well, until then, we
have that one at my fingertips.
Okay. Well, until then, we hope to see you next week. And to everybody, we wish you a good night. Take care.